child. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, the breathing dead body is a ghost. When a man dies, he is called dead. But when he again appears in a subtle body, subtle form, not visible to our present vision, and yet acts, such a dead body is called a ghost. Ghosts are always very bad elements, always creating a fearful situation for others. Similarly, the ghost-like non-devotees who have no respect for the pure devotees, nor for the Vishnu deity in the temples, create a fearful situation for the devotees at all times. The Lord never accepts any offering by such impure ghosts. There is a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. The stage of pure devotion is attained by sincerely serving a pure devotee of the Lord. The first condition of devotional service to the Lord is therefore to be a servant of a pure devotee. And this condition is fulfilled by the statement, reception of the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee who has also served another pure devotee. That is the way of pure disciplic succession or devotional parampara. Maharaj Raghugana inquired from the great saint Jadabharata as to how he had attained such a liberated state of a Paramahamsa. And in answer, the great saint replied as follows: Raghugana tapasalayati achejya nirvapanaagrahadva na chandasadeva jalagrisurye vina mahatpadarajohishekam. O King Raghugana, the perfectional stage of devotional service or the Paramahamsa stage of life cannot be attained unless one is blessed by the dust of the feet of great devotees. It is never attained by tapasya, austerity, the Vedic worshipping process, acceptance of the renounced order of life, the discharge of the duties of household life, the chanting of the Vedic hymns, or the performance of penances in the hot sun, within cold water, or before the blazing fire. In other words, Lord Sri Krishna is the property of his pure, unconditional devotees. And as such, only the devotees can deliver Krishna to another devotee. Krishna is never obtainable directly. Lord Chaitanya therefore designated himself as Gopi Bhaktu Padakamalayo Dasa Dasanu Dasa, or the most obedient servant of the servants of the Lord, who maintains the Gopi damsels at Vrindavan. A pure devotee therefore never approaches the Lord directly, but tries to please the servant of the Lord's servants. And thus the Lord becomes pleased, and only then can the devotee relish the taste of tulsi leaves stuck to his lotus feet. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is never to be found by becoming a great scholar of the Vedic literatures, but he is very easily approachable through his pure devotees. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart to Supreme Lord, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees, and once she recommends such a devotee to the Lord Sri Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. The conclusion is, therefore, that one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly. And by one's doing so, by the goodwill of the devotee, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnati Vilandhasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Vinani. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vachari Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These are the words by Shaunaka Muni, who is the leader among the sages at Naimisharanya. Shaunaka Muni and the other sages at Naimisharanya are inquiring from Sutta Goswami about more details and more discussions which happened between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit. We'll see what Shukadeva Goswami will discuss from the next chapter onwards. But meanwhile, Shaunaka Muni is trying to explain to us the importance of becoming a devotee in the human form of life. Is actually a function of the living entity in the human form of life. So, in different ways, Shaunaka Muni has been explaining that devotion has to be performed by all means. If you don't do devotion, then you are on the animal platform. But the animal also has all the faculties which the human being has. It can eat, it can breathe, it can live a long life. Says there are some species of life, trees who can live a long life. And animals have those faculties much better than you. As Prabhupada says, a human being can maximum produce a child 1 year. One child he can produce. There are dogs, hawks who can produce 24 children in a year. How can you compete with them? So like this, Shaunaka Muni is trying to tell us that we may say we are very advanced and we are very elevated in terms of other species of life, but if you maintain the same animalistic tendencies of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, don't realize the importance of human form of life, then you are no better than an animal. Prabhupada was strongly committing in the purport that Bhagavatam in that way is trying to point out, unless and until this atheistic temperament, godlessness is very much in our thinking and our actions, then human form of life's purpose is not fulfilled. Right? So different ways Shaunaka Muni was trying to explain how if you have ear-holes, you have to hear from Krishna, about Krishna. Then in those ear-holes, then if you don't hear about Krishna, then they are as good as the ears of snakes. Snake doesn't have ears. Our tongue, which is meant for vibrating Krishna's glories, if you don't use for that purpose, then they are like the tongue of a frog, which croaks and invites death. And if you don't use your body to go down before Krishna, then your body, or the upper portion of the body, is only a heavy burden, which is further sink you down. Prabhupada says, a drowning man with a heavy weight on his head is sure to go down more swiftly than those who have no heavy weight. Right? Because a foolish, puffed up man who is defying Krishna's presence, who is defying God, says that God has no meaning to him, there is no God, but actually he is under the complete grip of Maya, Krishna's nature. Because such a person will sink down into the ocean of nescience with the weight of his mental acquisition. And the hands, the different senses which we have got, should be used for Krishna's service. If we don't use those senses, then those hands are like the dead hands, useless hands. And the eyes which is there to see the Lingani Vishnu, the forms of Krishna, various forms of the temple, Archam, Murti. They don't see. What is the comparison given? Eyes of the printed eyes on the plumes of the peacock. Peacock eyes doesn't have a seeing power. Just decorative, looks very decorative, like that. The printed eyes on the plumes of the peacock will be useless. Similarly, the legs don't go for visiting the temples of Krishna, or rather for service of Krishna, are like the tree trunks which don't have capacity to move. So basically very strong statements from Shaunaka Muni to tell that your human life, the different faculties you have in human life is meant to serve Krishna. If you don't use them for service of Krishna or misuse them for self-gratification, then it is useless. Rather, a strong condemnation is being made in this statements. Today further, Shaunaka Muni is telling that the tendency for devotion to Krishna, like with the eyes had to see Krishna, my legs had to be used for service to go to temple and have darshan of Krishna, or used for service of Krishna, or hands should be used for service of Krishna. All these aspects of devotional inclination, how does it develop? It simply comes about that I decide today and tomorrow I will do it? No. Here a very important principle is being elaborated by Shaunaka Muni. In fact, this is the principle of Bhagavata Tattva. And unless and until you receive the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee, this awakening of devotion in you will not happen. Very important aspect, which is repeated in many places in Bhagavatam, and this is what Bhagavatam Shankar teaches. But devotion is not that you simply decide and you will develop it, or you practice something and you will develop it. Right? It's like in the modern days people think, I don't have this ability, I don't have this skill. If I read some books or see some videos or do something, I will develop that skill. It's not like that. Devotional service is completely mystical, and devotional service is bestowed upon another the act of the mercy of devotion can come upon only by the pure devotee's blessings. This is a very important principle which we have to understand. So Prabhupada is operating on this principle the entire purport. Prahlad Maharaj was advising his classmates. He also makes a similar statement. There's in the different verses of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, we see one type of a grammatical expression being made, and especially in this verse specifically, Prahlad Maharaj is telling to his classmates like this: unless this condition is fulfilled, this result you cannot get. So the words yavat tavat is used. Many verses in Bhagavad Gita also we see this. So Prahlad Maharaj is telling, Naisha matis tavat urukramandhim sprashatyanartha pagamo yadartha mahiyasam padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam na pranita yat. So Naisha matis tavat urukramandhim means urukramandhi, the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is famous for his uncommon attributes, Gurugram. So, the Matihi, Naisha Matihi, that Mati or the Krishna consciousness or the God consciousness or the surrender aspect of of our consciousness to Krishna will not come about. Pradhan is saying that this will not come about unless and until unless and until you get the Mahiyasam Pada Rajobhishekam Nishkinchanana Na Vrinita Yavat. Same words which Chandrodaya is using is being used here. Bhagavatam Dhirenu. The Mahiyasam Pada Rajobhishekam. So basically, Mahiyasam Pada Rajobhishekam means the Prabhupada explains the dust of the lotus feet of the great Vaishnavas, Mahiyasam. And these my great devotees are Nishkinchana. They don't have any worldly desires, materialistic aspirations like how ordinary people have. So unless and until you don't accept Na Vrinita Yavata, the dust of the lotus feet of pure devotee, you will not get the Gurugram Angri Matihi. You will not become attached to lotus feet of that Supreme Lord Krishna, who is famous for his uncommon activities. Okay. Because right now, what is your life? Your life is filled with anarthas. Sprashati. Your life is always filled with anartha, so many anarthas, unwanted things. You're running behind so many false, illusory things in this material world, thinking that is the ultimate purpose of life. So, anartha upagamaha yedarthaha. Prahlad says, your inclination to materialistic pursuits of life will be diminished. Upagama basically means the disappearance or the diminishing of your materialistic tendencies will happen for the unwanted things, anartha, only when you receive the dust of the lotus feet of pure devotees. Receiving dust means coming in touch with the pure devotee, receiving his blessings. So, this is the important principle which both Bhagavatam is so much stressing. Very nicely, Prabhupada is beginning the purport by telling how, one sense, our body is a dead body. But we are just acting in different ways. Our actions are compared to actions of a ghost. Prabhupada explains what is a ghost. When a man dies, he is called dead. But when he again appears in a subtle form not visible to our present vision and yet acts, such a dead body is called a ghost. So basically, our human form of life is meant to act in a specific manner. So Bhagavatam is very strongly making a statement here. But unless until we utilize this human form of life for the purpose or what it is meant for, then it is as good as you are mostly haunted. Because in your situation of constitutional position, that is Jivara Swarupa Nitya Krishna Dasa, you are eternally serving Krishna in a very wonderful way. But in your material situation, conditioned situation, the situation of a complete illusioned, bewildered situation, you are acting in a different way. Just like it said, ghostly haunted. We were reading yesterday in Chaitanya Charitamrita morning. How Prabhu Goswami says, we are haunted by a witch. So like that, when you are haunted, you don't have control on your, on your senses, on your mind, religions. You just go on doing whatever is being dictated by the ghost. So a witch is controlling our consciousness, our mind, our everything, and then we are doing something contrary to our natural situation. So Prabhupada is making a very nice statement here. Those like non-devotees, they have no respect for pure devotees, nor for Vishnu deity in the temples. So the atheistic temperament or the non-devotee attitude of the conditioned souls is compared to a ghost-like activity. They only create disturbance. Prabhupada is even going to the point of telling, they create a fearful situation for the devotees at all times. Because those don't know the importance of spiritual life. So, Prabhupada is making the statement, the Lord never accepts any offerings by such impure ghosts. So, to rectify this ghostly haunted situation is to, Prabhupada says, by sincerely serving a pure devotee of the Lord. This is the first stage of pure devotion. And so far, so many things have been told about pure devotion. The questions of Parikshit, that what is the duty of a person who is on the threshold of death, what he should hear, what he should chant, what he should remember, what he should not do, all those must be answered. In a very simple way, Shukadeva Goswami mentioned that yes, Hare Namanu Kirtanam, constant chanting of the holy name of Krishna. But how do you develop this desire to chant holy name of Krishna? How do you get the inspiration to do this? That point is being elaborated. So unless and until you sincerely serve a pure devotee of the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj is confirming, unless and until you get the mercy, you cannot be freed from your anarthas, unwanted activities, unwanted habits. Prabhupada goes on to say, one of the places, how the materialists are so much opposed to our Krishna conscious activities because they take it as a threat to their activities. If everybody is become Krishna conscious, then we follow the principle of no meat eating. Whereas mostly people are eating meat in different shapes and forms. And there was a recent survey which was showing India, 85% of people are meat eaters. 85%. So this is the situation. So when in our organization we are telling no meat eating, which means practically all the slaughterhouses will be closed. So their business will be closed. But there was so much opposition, even in some states when there was cow slaughter being banned. So much of violence, so many things are still happening. Because Krishna consciousness means you are not supposed to harm any living entity. And whatever Krishna has sanctioned for us as food, that only we are supposed to have. Patram Pushpam Phalam Bhojam. So in one sense, the people are seeing is a threat to their business. So like even now that position on this onion garlic thing going on in South India, it will very soon come to North also. Right? So much of, so many things are happening. Recently, one of the officials in Akshayapatra was telling me, though they are hell-bent to see that onion garlic should be in the food. Food is not tasty, that, this, and so many reasons they are giving. Because if onion garlic is stopped, the whole big industry of growth of onion garlic is all greatly hampered. Like this, people think in another way. Prabhupada goes on to say, and we say in our organization, no intoxication. No intoxication meaning no cigarette smoking or no alcohol consumption or no drugs of any sort. So if people become Krishna conscious, automatically they don't become addicted to these habits. The whole big business of cigarette manufacturing business or the brewery business, liquor business all stopped. In some states, the government gets the excise duty and the other income to the tune of 25-30% from these businesses. So like this, there's a big lobby going on in the entire world with regard to seeing these things are promoted, even at the cost of people's lives. People know it is not good for my life, but even then, there's such a big department, such a big industries, so many elaborate arrangements are there to see that it's all there in the world. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex. Prabhupada says if no illicit sex is there, then no brothels, no nightclubs, all will be closed. Gurugram is full of them. So like this, people think that this is life in the modern day. But how a person will come to a sense, good sense, that this is not good for me? How this sense is awakened in a person? Prabhupada says the first stage for a person to get this understanding and knowledge is what? Is to sincerely serve a pure devotee of Krishna. When you sincerely serve a pure devotee of Krishna, pure devotee will bestow knowledge within our heart, or will reveal the knowledge within our heart. Like in the morning every day during Guru Puja time, you sing Divya Jnana Hriday Prakashito. Coming in touch with a pure devotee means one of the symptoms is that you are awakened with the proper understanding of who you are, why are you here, what you should be doing. Anartha upashamaha means unwanted things which you felt or which you were thinking is important in my life is all going to slowly disappear. They are all going to subside. So the first condition of devotional service to the Lord is therefore to be a servant of a pure devotee. Somehow, if a conditioned soul comes in touch with the pure devotee, understands how to surrender to the pure devotee, then our path for liberation is open. Mahat sevam dvaramahu vimukte. Statement in Bhagavatam. Mahat sevam dvaramahu means serving a pure devotee will open up the path for liberation. Tamodvaram yochitam sangi sangam. If you are associating with materialists or people interested with eating, sleeping, mating, defending, that is the only purpose of life, for such people, the doors to hell are wide open. So Prabhupada is quoting line. So she just delivered the baby in the ashram where Bharat Maharaj was staying and she ran away. Bharat Maharaj felt so much compassion with that small baby deer that he, in one sense, little sidelined with devotional practices and became very attached to that deer. So taking care of their deer nicely and all that, finally Bharat Maharaj, when he left the body, he did not go back to spiritual world, rather he took the body of a deer. Then the body of a deer, he realized the mistake he has done. Had gone to such high level of advancement of devotion to Krishna, but now again I have forgotten what is that I am supposed to be doing. So he very carefully saw that in his body of a deer he is in the ashram of great sages and saints. That way he was hearing what they are talking about, the glories of Krishna. And next life he got the body of a dumb person, rather than a person who is not very active with regard to the materialistic way of seeing things. He was just like, he was showing himself as though he is very dull person and not so active, like a mad person, nonsense. So he was known as Jada Bharata. So once it so happened that some of the soldiers saw this person, this Jada Bharata is well-built, they all took him to help them to carry the palanquin of this Maharaja Rahul. Right, so when this palanquin was being taken, as the king was on the palanquin and all his soldiers and even Jada Bharata was carrying, it so happened that Jada Bharata was not walking steadily. the way others balancing and walking. It was causing a lot of inconvenience to Maharaj Rahugana. So Maharaj Rahugana tolerated for some time, and after some time he came out and started, chastising the Jadabharata. Why are you walking like this? Why are you going like this? Why don't you walk properly? Anyway, Jadabharata didn't speak anything. That is the context here, wherein later on Maharaj Rahugana later on realizes that this Jadabharata is not an ordinary person, and there is a conversation between both of them. And Maharaj Rahugana asked great saint Jadabharata how he became such a great Paramahamsa, how he attained this stage, liberated stage of Paramahamsa. Later on he realizes this. Jadabharata is not an ordinary person with this conversation. Because the way Jadabharata starts answering, he becomes very much impressed and he starts asking more questions. So in the answer to this question of Maharaj Rahugana, Jadabharata replies as follows. Very nice instruction. Yudhisthira says 8 things, 8 points, which he says will never make you a pure devotee. Okay. Rahuganaitat tapasanayati. Says you can never attain pure devotion by performing tapasya. Any tapasya you do, that tapasya is tapasya. You cannot attain. Or Nata ijjaya madmanavo madbhakto madyaji. Ijja, yaji and all means worshipping. So by Vedic worshipping process, no, we cannot attain. See, it's a very significant statement which Maharaj Jadabharata is making. That you may think by doing this I get pure devotion, by doing that I get pure devotion. Right? First thing was by great tapasya, great austerities. Yes, you can do. All that is fine. But that doesn't give you pure devotion. Or the Vedic worshipping process also doesn't give you pure devotion. Acceptance of the renounced order of life, nirvapana. Or I am a very sincere householder performing all the duties very nicely. Discharge of duties of a household life, point number 4. Or chandasa. I can perfectly chant the Vedic hymns, Vedic mantras, I'm very expert in that. Or performance of penances in Jala, Agni, Surya. In Kumbh Mela we saw very insight sadhus performing this tapasyas. Penances in the hot sun, within cold water, Jala, or before the blazing fire. These things cannot give you devotion. So what can give you devotion? Vina mahatpada rajovishekam. It cannot be attained unless one is blessed by the dust of the feet of the great devotee. This is the point. So, even any activity, for example, you may say, oh, we're doing austerities, no, getting up early morning, yes, that austerity should be blessed by Rupa. And then disciple succession. Only then you can. If you do the austerity in the mood of, oh, I am doing such a great devotee, such a great person, Krishna explains in the 17th chapter. Such austerities are in the mode of passion and ignorance. When you are only trying to get some adoration from outside people, or you want to satisfy yourself. So we should always understand whatever activity Srila Prabhupada has given us as austerity or worship of the Lord or chanting of the mantras is all in connection with His order, that you do like this, then things will happen. That's why Prabhupada is making a very nice statement here. That is the way of pure disciplic succession or devotion. You always remember that I am getting this order from the disciplic succession, the Guru Parampara. And the mercy, the blessings is flowing from the disciplic succession. Just like Prabhupada also. He never said that I am giving you this order. He always said this is the mercy of my Guru Maharaj. This this aspect should be always understood properly. Prabhupada is elaborating on this further in the last part of the purport. How even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have heard this many times, this statement. Gopi bhartuhu pada kamalayo dasa dasam dasa. I am the most obedient servant of the Lord. And his Lord is the maintainer of the gopis at Vrindavan. Gopi bhartuhu. So the one important aspect which Prabhupada is making here is a pure devotee never approaches the Lord directly. Tries to please a servant of the Lord's servants. One of the lectures Prabhupada says, you become 100 times servant of a pure devotee, then you are perfect. So like this, the attitude of service, servant attitude, that is the mood of Vaikuntha. That is the mood in Gurugram. I was just reading the Nectar of Devotion. How the devotees in Vrindavan or devotees in Dwaraka, they are not like conditioned souls, ordinary people. They may perform their activities like conditioned souls, but they are all ever liberated personalities. They are all Nitya Siddhas. They have just come to be part of Lord's pastimes. Rupa Goswami quotes from one of the Puranas, where Lord is telling Satyabhama, his wife, that these associates of mine are eternal associates of mine. They have come to just be part of my whole Leela. You should never mistake them to be like ordinary people. Prabhupada goes on to say, the analysis given by the Acharyas, like Krishna has, the Acharyas analyze Krishna has 64 qualities. Likewise, these devotees have 55 qualities. Just to give an example, one of the qualities of Krishna is he's a meticulous dresser, dressing himself very meticulously. With regard to Prabhupada, you can see the way his dress sense is very meticulous. Anything you see, there are so many photos of Prabhupada, you keep seeing. Any photo you see, Prabhupada is perfectly dressed. So this is the point. Like this is one of the very small, very wonderful things which Nectar of Devotion describes. The whole point is to tell that how the pure devotees, their attitude, their mood is, I have to become the most obedient servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. His approach is not that I can directly go to Krishna. Prabhupada is giving the example of how the Vrindavan mood is. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani. The very fact that when devotees are expressing or rather addressing each other as Radhe means the mood is I have to approach Krishna through his pure devotees. This is exactly what Rupa Goswami Nectar of Instruction also says. You have to follow in the footsteps of devotees of Vrindavan to approach Krishna. So, it's a very important principle in devotion that we don't neglect or we don't underestimate the devotees, pure devotees, presence and their association. Really, we think I can go directly, I know, that's how the materialistic tendency is. I know the minister, I know the big man, I know this person, I can directly approach, who are you? Prabhupada is making a very wonderful statement. Common saying is what? One should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. This is the principle. You love me means you love my dog also. Nicely. So, it's a very important principle in devotion which we have to always understand. That's why when in Krishna consciousness, especially when we have the Vaishnavas, great Acharyas, and the mood is that we are servants of devotees. We don't say we are servant of Krishna. We are servant of this devotee. Right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one of the songs, he says, I am the dog of a Vaishnava. This is the way Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. I don't remember the song. So point is the mood. Not that I'm such a big man, I know this, I know that. The mood is to be a servant of the devotee. As Prabhupada says here, one never approaches the Lord directly but tries to be the servant of the Lord's servant. And thus the Lord becomes pleased. And only then can the devotee release the taste of devotion. Here especially one more point is mentioned. The taste of the tulsi leaves stuck to his lotus feet can be resist. So this mood of receiving the mercy from a pure devotee is very important. Always begging, always seeking the mercy of pure devotees' blessings. Prabhupada says, in Vrindavan, because this mood is, every devotee's mood is how I can get mercy from Srimati Radharani, who is the topmost devotee. She is the perfectional stage of worldly feminine nature of Lord Krishna, who can easily give mercy. Prabhupada says, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees, and since she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. So if Radharani recommends, this person, this devotee is there, nice person, Krishna, then Krishna will not even think twice. Immediately he accepts the devotee's devotion. The Prabhupada says, Krishna is the property of his unalloyed devotees. Only devotees can deliver Krishna to another devotee. That is the point. So Prabhupada concludes his purport. The conclusion is therefore, one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly. Right? Should be more serious. How I can get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, other Vaishnavas who are sincerely serving Prabhupada's mission. How I can get their mercy. How I can please them. Again, pleasing should not be taken as pleasing in the materialistic sense. I can give him these materialistic facilities or this comfort, then he will be pleased. The pleasing here is in terms of the Bhagavatam understanding of how Prabhupada's only intention is what? All of us have to become nicely Krishna devotees and go back to God. So for that, Prabhupada has established an institution. He has made a system of how things have to function. Everybody has to follow some rules, regulations, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, everything so nicely done. So we have to see that we adhere to Prabhupada's every instruction as much as possible, as seriously as possible. That is the point. So Prabhupada says, when you adhere to the instructions what Prabhupada has given, seriously, sincerely, to whatever extent possible, then that shows your seriousness about seeking the mercy of the devotee. A determination to follow what pure devotee is telling us to follow. Because our materialistic tendency, what it happens, it is only trying to see that we don't know. There's a non-devotee ghost within us, which is always trying to tell us, no, don't do this. Why you should do this? Or some other ways of trying to rebel or oppose the devotional aspect. Prabhupada, the secret of success in spiritual life is to simply follow whatever pure devotee is telling us. Prabhupada quotes that. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha purunandana. I came across the purport from Krishna Chandrodaya Thakur. He says that if you want to be successful in spiritual life, you should simply try to please the spiritual master, the pure devotee. So this is the principle. So one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of a devotee than that of the Lord directly. So in that way, our dealings in the Vaishnava community should be in line with what we are trying to understand today. Not in the mood of, I know better, I don't want your, who are you? This mood is not proper. The Vaishnava, Vaikuntha mood is what? I am obedient servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. In this verse, 100 times servant of the Lord. Our materialistic tendencies make us to think that we are the masters, we are the Lord. Why I have to listen to you? Prabhupada says obedience is the first principle of discipline. And Prabhupada has given a very clear understanding of what is obedience means. Right? Obedience is the first principle of discipline. Prabhupada says without obedience, we cannot manage worldwide organization. If everybody is becoming disobedient, he says, no, I will not listen to you, I will listen to him. No, first listen to your immediate authority. Otherwise things cannot be managed. We are all here for what? To become the servant 100 times. But you want to show your attitude as, I am the master. That is not good. So Prabhupada is very nicely telling us this. If you want to receive the mercy from Guru Parampara, want to receive mercy from Krishna, should be more serious about seeking the mercy of devotees than the Lord, than that of the Lord directly. This aspect of approaching the Lord directly should be properly understood. A pure devotee never approaches the Lord directly, but tries to please the servant of the Lord's servant. Prabhupada gives an example how in Jagannath Puri, when a lot of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there for almost 24 years. So a lot of devotees and different great personalities used to come and visit, wanted to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Many poets and many scholars were also coming. So some poets used to offer their nice poems and some writings to for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So whatever used to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be first scrutinized, would be first properly analyzed by his secretary by name Swarup Damodar. So only when Swarup Damodar approves, then it would go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his review. So basically, once what happened that one Bengali devotee, poet, he gave a poetry in which the meaning was coming like this, that Jagannath Prabhu or Jagannath Swami is non-moving Krishna, Chaitanya is moving Krishna. So this came to Swarup Damodar's analysis. Then immediately chastised this devotee, Bengali devotee. Your philosophy is wrong. Whether Krishna in the form of deity or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are non-different. They are same. It's like Krishna, 5,000 years back, he spoke Bhagavad Gita, and his book Bhagavad Gita are non-different. Abhinna. This is the actual philosophy, but what you are doing is wrong. So please learn the philosophy of Bhagavata from a devotee Bhagavata. Bhagavata Parogiya Bhagavata Sthane. So we have to learn about Bhagavan. Prabhupada says, actual word is Bhagavat. Krishna is known as Bhagavat. And one who is very intensely attached and devoted to that Bhagavat is called Bhagavata. So when you want to know about Bhagavat or Bhagavan, then you have to serve Bhagavan. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Prabhupada says there are two Bhagavatas. The two Bhagavatas? Grantha Bhagavata and Vyakti Bhagavata. Right? So every day hearing Bhagavatam will understand the proper value system for how to see the devotees of Krishna, Bhagavatam. And serving the pure devotees, serving their instructions, following their orders, doing their instructions as a life and goal. That will also make us advance in devotions. So Prabhupada is telling that we should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly. And by once doing so, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. Krishna also will be very pleased. When you go through his devotees, that's how Krishna wants. You know, the Puranas, Krishna mentions to Lord Arjuna. One who is telling he is my devotee is not my devotee. One who says he is my devotee's devotee is my devotee. That's what Krishna says in the Puranas. Okay, stop here. Rantra Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada.